All right, guys, I'm Sensei Thad Campbell. This is my assistant, Joshi Craig Alexander. I'm the head instructor here at Tiger Schulmann's Feasterville. I've been running and teaching in this school now for the last 10 years. I've been training directly under Tiger Schulmann for that time. I've been training at Tiger Schulmann's now for almost 12 years. My assistant's been with me almost every day for the last 8 years now, sporting a 10-3-1 record in amateur MMA, just won his most recent title belt. I'm very proud to have him as my assistant instructor here in the school. And what we're going to do is we're going to break down last night's UFC on Fuel TV. Came from the Saitama Super Arena, always a real cool place to watch fights. Tons of energy in the Japanese crowd, very educated about martial arts in general, and so they cheer at the right time. Don't boo a whole lot, a lot of respect for the warrior spirit in Japan, so it was a lot of fun, a lot of excitement to watch the card. There were 12 fights on the card last night. Started about 7:40, a little weird start time because they're over in Japan. Felt sorry for the fighters because they were fighting in the morning. Yeah, it's got to be a little weird. I know we train a lot of times in the morning, but hard to adjust your biorhythms to that concept of getting fighting in the morning. But great fights. A lot of good stuff happening. Like always in the kickboxing corner, what Joshua and I want to do, what Craig and I want to do, is we want to break down some of the things we saw in those fights and how you can apply them to your own training and your own self-defense. God forbid these situations ever occurred on the street. We're going to talk about what a fighter might have seen and why they would do a certain technique and how you can use that if you're ever in a street self-defense situation, right? So Craig and I are going to get up and we're going to get in our stances here. We're going to talk about the very first fight of the night. Very cool when the fight started off. Actually happened last weekend too in the UFC pay-per-view. The very first fight on the undercard. I'm watching on Facebook because it's not even on TV, and the two guys are giving everything they got, and the fight was back and forth. Unbelievable. Hyung-Gyu Kim, say that 3 times fast, versus Marcelo Guimaraes. And the two of them are fighting, and Hyung-Gyu Lim landed the same thing a few different times. It was really cool. He said it in the post-fight conference, what he was looking at, Guimaraes was throwing a jab, and he was leaning away, worried about an overhand right as a counter. Right? So if you throw your overhand right, or your jab, excuse me, and your head stays straight up, then a big overhand right can come over the top and hit the side of the face. So Guimaraes, good technique. He was leaning off to the side. But Lim was timing it with a step knee kick. It was beautiful. So Guimaraes would throw the jab, pull the hand back, and before he could pull the hand back, before he could get his head back to center, he pulled the hand back, he would get kneed in the face. Right? So Lim, throw the jab, lean ahead, pull the jab back, would step in, drive that knee, and he hit the side of Guimaraes' face twice in the first round. I was actually really surprised. Your knee kick is the most powerful weapon you have. And he hit him right in the side of the face twice, and I was really surprised that Guimaraes took him, right? It was very impressive that he could take that shot. But later on in the fight, Guimaraes throws that jab again. Lim times it, side of the jaw one more time, fight over, right? That's also a good technique. Something that you can throw righty on righty. If somebody's stepping in and trying to tackle you, you can throw that step knee. You see how quickly Craig got his head out of the way because he doesn't even want to come close to that knee. If you think about a car accident, right? If you're driving forward and the person behind you comes and hits you from behind, there's not going to be a ton of damage to the car because you're going away from that contact. But if you're driving and you hit something head on, then it's going to be a much worse accident. Even if you were dead still, if you were stopped and someone ran into you, not as bad as that head on. So in one version of this, he's throwing a jab, he's pulling his hand back, and then Lim throws the knee. That's like your car sitting still and someone runs into you. Still not fun. But then, a couple times he was able to catch Guimaraes, a jiu-jitsu guy, black belt, wanted to take him down on the ground, and he caught him with that step knee kick coming in head on. And eventually was able to end the fight with a really nice step knee kick. So you see someone's head ducking, dropping down, a great time to throw your knee kicks. Why is Lim using his front leg and not his back leg? Well, if Craig leans a little bit to his right, my back leg doesn't have a clear path to his head. So he's using a step knee kick to get to that open side, right? Very nice technique by Hyun-Gyu Lim. I won't try and say that again, right? Next thing I want to talk about. Great fight. Takeya Mizugaki versus Brian Caraway. Caraway really good on his feet last night, actually. He's a wrestler, always kind of pinning people up against the cage and trying to control them with wrestling. Did a pretty good job with that with Mizugaki. A split decision. Mizugaki won. And one combination that he threw jumped out at me. We don't throw it a lot in class, but I'm going to show it to you guys so you can learn it. We throw jab cross over and over. And Mizugaki's great at stand-up. He's sparred a long time, kickboxed a long time. You know, more than comfortable seeing a jab, Caraway, more than comfortable seeing a jab cross. So Mizugaki did something a little unusual. Instead of throwing his jab, he threw a lead uppercut and lifted Caraway's face, right elbow, in tight. And when that face came up, that right was right there to the side of the jaw. Very important that your technique is good. This has to be timed right. If you throw that uppercut and lift, and you swing your arm back, by the time that right hand gets there, their head is back down again. Not what Mizugaki did. He threw the uppercut, the right arm stayed tucked in its pocket, and it got there so fast that Caraway couldn't get his head out of the way. That punch clips him on the side of the jaw, doesn't see it coming, puts Caraway down. Now, to his credit, Caraway got back up and kept fighting. But a split decision, right? Two judges scored 2 rounds to 1 in favor of Mizugaki. One judge 2 rounds to 1 in favor of Caraway. That one combination, very, very big in that fight to help Mizugaki earn a victory for himself, right? Next fight I want to talk about. If you remember last week's episode, if you haven't seen it, you go back and look. We talked about Dustin Poirier versus Cub Swanson and how they're opposite stance, right? We talked about staying outside that front foot so that you can have the proper power for your power side, right? My power side is now lined up with the targets I want to hit. Whereas if he's outside of my front foot, my power is outside of his body. By the time I get to him with a cross or a right leg kick, it's going to have lost some of its steam. So last night, right, we were talking about Poirier and Swanson kicking to the inside. Last night, Brad Tavares, Ultimate Fighter alum, Ricky Fukuda, very high-level wrestler from Japan, which is unusual. Japanese not known for the wrestling, but Fukuda, very good wrestler, trains with AKA, Fitch, Kashek, Cain Velasquez, those guys all known as very good wrestlers. And usually what Fukuda does, Fukuda was not able to close the distance on Tavares. Anytime that Fukuda would try and come in close, Tavares was doing a great job. Hands were up, number 11. Fukuda would come in to try and clinch, to try and grab a hold, and Tavares was able to just keep him off and able to establish his range, what he wanted to be, which was medium range. Tavares was throwing a great stiff jab, and then up with the head kick. Very nice from the open side. One cool thing when you're fighting righty-lefty, our power leg, which for me is my right, we usually switch your feet. Usually, it's going to that person's shoulder. You gotta have incredible flexibility to get up over the shoulder and hit the person in the head with that kick, and it loses some steam for most of us. With a lefty, I can kick that back leg more on an upward angle and keep that power coming up into his head, right? He's blocking that with his glove, but I hit that shin bone on his face, and it doesn't feel very good. Even your instep, not as strong as your shin bone, but still gonna hurt, right? So last night, Tavares, early in the fight, first round, clips Fukuda in the face and was able to continue to dominate that medium range using his jab. Didn't throw a lot more head kicks, right? Fukuda's doing a better job of keeping his hands up, but stunned him early and helped him win a great fight. Really cool fight. Undercard, very exciting. If you ever, you know, the UFCs are on, a lot of people, they tune in for the pay-per-view event or for the part that's on Fuel. The UFC always puts the undercard fights on their Facebook page. And one of the cool things about the undercard is
they're excited.
Those guys are trying to make it.
They want to build themselves.
They don't have the security of a $250,000 paycheck and, you know, a marketing deal, and they're getting paid, you know, much less money. And so sometimes that need for
on a show,
you need that success. It leads to some very exciting fights. Now that being said, last night 12 fights, the best 2 fights, the last 2. Really cool when that happens. Last weekend, the best fight, one of the best fights is the last one. The second to last one was the snooze fest. This week, both co-main events. Mark Hunt, Stefan Struve, and Vanderlei Silva. Tooth in his cheek. His tooth was stuck. Anyway, all right. We want you to watch, so not gross you out. Vanderlei Silva, Brian Stann, and I'll tell you what, all the credit to Struve and to Stann because they were fighting world-renowned strikers, and Stann's known as a striker, but he's fighting Vanderlei Silva, who is maybe the most famous knockout artist in the history of MMA, and Stan stood toe-to-toe with him, okay? What do I want to point out to you from those two fights that have to do with you and a street self-defense situation? Now, I showed you earlier, Mizugaki mixed it up a little bit, uppercut cross, right? Silva and Hunt didn't mix it up. They threw Old Faithful. Not a jab cross, not 1-2. They were throwing their 1-2s, they were throwing their 1s, but both of them the same exact knockout, right? Straight right hand, left hook, fight over, right? Mark Hunt's straight right hand. I know it's hard for Joshi to put his hands down because he likes to keep his hands up, which is good because I taught him to keep his hands up all the time. But his hands are down a little bit so he can demonstrate. Hunt clips Struve on the side of the jaw. Struve stumbles back a couple of feet. Not going to go too far because we want you to be able to see. Covers up. Problem with covering up, hard to see. Hunt lunges, throws the left hook right around the side of the guard, right? Broken jaw, knocked his tooth out, which is impressive, right? Wear a double-sided mouthpiece, that won't happen as often. Ref stepped in. Struve says he wanted the ref to pull his tooth out and keep fighting, right? But in all reality, he's telling the ref to stop the fight. The ref stopped the fight. Herb Dean, great ref. Right decision. The guy's got a broken jaw. No need to keep fighting. Stephen Struve still young. Got a great career ahead of him. Big win for Mark Hunt. Using what? Straight right hand, left hook, right? His a little different in that he threw the right hand, stunned him, lunged in, threw that left hook. But if you notice when I lunged in, I threw the right. I didn't lose my stance. I didn't get sloppy there. I'm able to throw that lunging left hook. And Mark Hunt, you know, heavyweight, one of the most powerful guys that's ever fought. That guy hits people, they go out, right? Struve, great credit because he was willing to stand there and trade. Maybe he should have traded a little more instead of standing there and taking shots. But young fighter, know he's going to come back, very tough dude. Last fight, same thing. Vanderlei Silva, Brian Stann. First round, how many times did Vanderlei hit the canvas from a shot from Brian Stann? At least a couple times where Stann clipped him. Silva went down. Silva in the second round, same thing. Stann's hands down just a little bit. Right hand, left hook. Hit both punches, one after the other. Actually, the right hand ragdolled Stann. He started to fall. Silva's left hook was so quick, it hit him on the way down. Stann goes down to the ground, covers up, straight in front. Silva comes in, what does he do? He doesn't go against what Stann's blocking. He comes right around the side of that guard, hits the jaw, Stann's eyes roll back. Vanderlei Silva, much like Brian Stann, real good guy, walks away, right? Doesn't hit him any more than he really needs to. Moral of the story for you guys, for a self-defense situation, basics work. How many times in class do you throw a 2-3-2, right? Nice simple combination that we can throw. Our straight right hand, left hook. If you're a lefty, obviously, straight left, right hook. Very effective combination. Last two fights, best fights of the night for my money, although it's free, which is really nice. We like to field TV cards. Excellent technique, basics work. And even in the case of Mizugaki, where we talked about something that was a little, it's still basics. It's good technique. It's not fancy. Just changed it up ever so slightly to secure what you want, which is a victory, wins the fight, right? So in a street self-defense situation, moral of the story, step knee kick, basic, nothing fancy, right? Round kick to the head. I have a theory about kicks. I kick people on the leg until they fall down, and then I kick them in the head. I started martial arts a little older, not known for my flexibility. You guys who are a little more flexible, but even me, as inflexible as I am, if I see an opposite stance, I'll kick to the head. Kick to the leg, get their focus down, come with that leg over the top, right? Nice kick by Brad Tavares in the Rookie Fukuda fight. Work your basics. And then we are going to help you learn when and what to look for so you can apply them. I'm Sensei Thad Campbell, my assistant Craig Alexander. Look forward to seeing you after the next UFC event. Is GSP Diaz next?
I hope so.
I hope so too. See you.